Hey guys, Breadcat Gaming here. Hope you're having a good day. Today I'm going to create the strongest Varangian adventurers in the 1178 start date to try to save the ailing Byzantine Empire. We're going to come here in Arabia to replace this Duke of Najd here. We're going to have a custom ruler who has the local faith, Norwegian culture because we're Vikings. I'll be a warlord, so I have a martial education. Eccentric for the lifestyle experience. Wrathful for martial, and so I could pass the trait to my heirs. Holy warrior for 10 advantage, which is basically 10 martial. Giant and one-eyed are for flavor. Reaver because we're going to raid a lot. Architect for the reduced cost and time. Strong for health. Irritable as a source of stress relief since we're going to be gaining more stress from eccentric. Disloyal for point reduction. I put 12 points into martial, 7 into learning, and 3 into prowess. The full point breakdown is here. So we're going to finalize this character and we're going to have the default game rules and then we're going to start the game. So before I pass any time, a few things I need to do. First, I'll go to my council and I'll have my steward promote Norwegian culture in our capital. Then I'm going to use our bishop and fabricate a claim. We're going to go up north here and claim Antioch. And although this steward's skill is 0, he's probably just being loaded in. So we'll swap him as needed later. Then I'll pick my lifestyle. I'm going to go for martial lifestyle because we're going to be a warlord. I'm going to go chivalry for the 5 advantage. And my full planned perk tree looks like this. Although it looks weird, it's to prepare for when I do become an adventurer. Then I want to swear fealty to Sala, and I can't swear fealty right now, so I'm going to pass 1 day. So once the day is passed, I can swear fealty to him. This helps me do a few things. I want to conquer this territory next to the papacy here, but I'm actually out of range. I can't declare war on him. I can also check my range by going to my bishop. If I try to fabricate a claim, you'll see that I can't touch any parts of Italy. And so if I even go for Sicily, it's too far away. But once I become his vassal, I'll get in range. And it's also because he's a very large ruler, so I don't have to worry about defensive wars. I could just focus on my own goals. So let's pass days until he becomes our liege. Right, now that he is our liege, you'll see that our diplomatic range has increased. And now I'm first going to declare war for Orbetello. Then with the rest of the prestige I do have, I'm going to go and build Varangian veterans, which right now can only afford 1 stack. I plan to have 3 stacks of either veterans or husk rolls, and I can keep 1 stack of bondi since these guys are spearmen. And this regiment will actually decrease the cost of my traditions later. I'm also going to turn on invite knights notification. Since I have some leftover prestige still, I'm going to actually summon some knights right now. Then I'll try to get a marriage with someone who is not lowborn. There's only 2 candidates right now, so I'll finish the war for Orbetello first. So let's raise all our armies and we're going to go land next to Orbetello. So because of the change to advantage, landing directly on it is going to be more dangerous. So we want to come to the side. All right, so we landed. So we're going to still have this penalty of minus 30 advantage. And because of our big disadvantage, you'll see that we might actually lose this. So I'm going to actually pass days until this is almost over. If I take a look here, the battle is going to be in 9 days. So I'll just wait until there's 8 days left. So now that there's 8 days left, I can go to battle and we'll see that the penalty should be removed when there's only 1 day left. So the penalty is gone and now it's predicting a victory. So the battle, our advantage is decently close right now. And once the battle actually starts, 10 advantage now is basically doubling my damage. So if I had just jumped right on him, because our army sizes are pretty similar, if he had bigger advantage, he could easily destroy me. So nowadays you have to be really careful of advantage because of this new change. So let's finish off this war and battle. So let's see, our council is missing. We're going to go and reassign someone who has some stewardship at least. For this guy, he hates us, so let's actually move him off of Spy Master. Let's reassign him to, let's say, this guy here so we can get monthly prestige income. All right, our claim is also finished, so I'm just going to grab that claim. I have my first martial perk as well. So let's grab Stalwart Leader. This is so that I can command my armies with reduced danger. All right, that's finished. So let's get this county here. And we can now also station another regiment. So we're going to station our veterans there. My next step is I want to get 27,000 prestige for diverging my culture. And I need about 12,000 piety to reform my faith. And I need about 5,000 to 6,000 gold in order to buy everything I want. So it sounds like a lot, but 1178, all the holdings here, they hold a lot of loot, so rating is going to be profitable, and all the battles are going to be really big, so we're going to gain a lot of prestige and piety pretty quickly. It's also why I'm here in Italy. There's plenty of rulers to get donations from. So let's first check our marriage. Hopefully now there should be a lot more spouses, so they're all highborn. I'm going to hope for someone who has inheritable traits. This person, although she has a good trait for our warband, she's too young and I need the renown a little sooner. So let's actually just look for someone who has decent learning. And I'm also going to try to pick someone who has okay martial as well. So between these three here, it looks like this one is the most balanced. And she's a little older, but as long as the chance of children is medium, I'll marry her. It's not, so let's go back. And we're just going to have to settle with one of these two. So between the two, I think this one has a little more balanced traits. I also actually prefer to not have an alliance, so I don't have to go and help other people. I could just focus on my own goals. She's got a medium chance of children, so that's good for me. And before I hit accept, I'm going to do a grand wedding. And this is so I can get renown. So a mini goal right now is to get the gold for this grand wedding. It's going to cost me 675 gold. So right now I'm just going to go on a couple of raids. So let's change our military rally points over here. Let's raise everyone as a raider. Let's see how big our army is going to be. All right, so we have like 2,600 men. Now, another thing about raiding 1178, some of these castles are going to have garrisons that are too high for us to raid. This one we can, but like the papacy here, this garrison is too big, so we can't actually raid them. And when I do raid, I want to make sure that the armies are not too far apart in strength. Like these guys are all okay. This guy might be a little dangerous. And when I do raid, I'm going to first go onto the temples or cities, not the castles, so that they don't have their defensive advantage. And then let's come over here. And you also see that the raiding takes quite a while. It takes like 41 days. And that's because the fort levels are so high. So raiding here is going to take many more days than in 867. So we're going to do that one. And then we're going to come over here to this city. So he's coming out because he thinks he can fight us. So if we look at the battle, we have 21 advantage, which is giving us 210% damage. And part of it is because we're not fighting on his castle, otherwise he would get defender advantage. So you want to raid their cities and temples, that way you can easily defeat their army. And then at the end, you can raid their castle. So we're going to raid this guy here. We're going to defeat him. He probably is going to be able to come back. So until I wipe his army, I'm going to go to the next city or temple over here. It's still going to take a few days. And you see from the battles, we gain a decent amount of prestige and piety. It's going to come up pretty quickly. Let's go to this temple because he might be coming back. Actually, we're full on gold, so we got to drop it off first. And then we'll go back to the temple here. And then we'll go for his castle. He's coming back, so I'll wait to fight him here in the hills. You see that we should have the battle advantage. And indeed, we have 26 advantage, which is 260% damage. So we easily smash him. So now that his army is totally smashed, we can now go and get some more loot from this holding. And you see, actually, we don't start looting this because the garrison's too high. So I actually have to return and go back home. We have to wait a little bit for the troops to replenish. I'm going to take the extra prestige we have to increase our men-at-arms size a bit. And it looks like we have a ransom, so let's ransom him. Let's check our grand wedding. Looks like we have 22 months to get about 200 gold. I can only wait maybe 1 month for these guys to replenish. All right, that might be enough, so we have 2,800 men. So let's raise everyone as raiders again. And then we're going to go over actually to Pisa here. Pisa is pretty nice because if I check his castle, his fort level is actually really low. Versus Genoa to the north over here. Although he's a republic, he has 2 castles here and they actually stack in terms of raiding time so that this temple is going to take a long time. And also this special building increases the raid time for this entire county. So I usually don't raid over there because it takes too long. So we're going to come here. There's going to just be a few days. Okay, so that was really quick. All right, you see it's only like 9 days because the fort level is so low. Also, be careful of Spoleto over here. This is actually still part of the Holy Roman Empire and he will come out and fight you. So just be careful of raiding here. Let's go for this guy's city. So once we're on the city, he may or may not come out. He's not coming out, so we're going to go for his castle as well. And we have 200 gold and just enough time to go back. So let's go back after. All right, so now let's go for our grand wedding. We're going to host the wedding in our capital. For the options, I'm going to reduce everything except for the third one, so we don't need extra prestige. We're going to get plenty of it from battles. We don't need opinion with our vassals, so let's save money there. And then for this third one, we do want a better wedding venue. This actually will give us some renown, and I'm hoping to get at least 250. I do want a lot of kids, so let's try to seduce our betrothed. I don't want to seduce him. I probably forgot to set my ruler to hetero, so yeah, I'm only attracted to men. All right, so let's just start the grand wedding. We do have extra perks, so let's start working down here. And for vassals, although it could make us slightly stronger, I don't want to have to deal with more people that might hate me, so we're actually going to decline this guy. All right, so for this choice, we do get the 225 renown. So that's enough for me to get my first dynasty perk. So the first dynasty perk I want is in the pillage tree, which doubles our prestige and fame gain. So this is going to really skyrocket our prestige gain. From the wedding, we still got a little prestige. So we're going to increase our men-at-arms a bit more. And then we're going to continue raiding these Italian counts. So let's raise all our raiders here. We're going to come up to here. And my army should be a lot stronger now, so we should be able to freely raid everyone here. So this guy's not coming out, so we'll just raid that. And then we'll raid over here. We already have a baby, awesome. Alright, he's coming out, so let's check the fight. So again, great advantage, so we're going to just wipe him. And now because of our new Renown perk, we have a huge amount of prestige gain. So usually piety and gold are the limiting factors. Prestige, we're going to get way more than we need. So another mini goal I have is to go to a university visit, and that's going to cost about 400 gold. So I'm going to save for that. So we should have enough once we get this raid done. So we're going to go home. With all that prestige, we can now probably max out a stack. And then now let's go on a university visit. There actually happens to be one right next to us in Medina. So let's do that. We're also going to increase the study materials to the max, so we have the best chance of succeeding. You can also change your wife to patronage for more learning skill to boost the university success. For studying at the university, we're trying to get to tier 3 or 4 so we can have a high chance of increasing our education. I'm going to basically pick all the choices that increase our education. So this one is more successful at the cost of some gold and prestige. This one's only slightly, and this one has a chance to be slightly. So we're going to do the one where we spend some resources. So the peasants are revolting. Let's check where they're mostly at. So we have some here, and most of them are going to be over here. And then once we defeat this guy, I could go back and fight these guys back here, but it's probably going to take a long time. It's going to take 9 months, and I don't want to waste any time, so we'll just white piece the faction. All right, so we did not increase our education, but we did get some free perks, so that's fine. So I also think we have enough men to fight the Pope now. We have almost 1,500 veterans. So again, I'm going to not go on his castle. Let's go on his city over here, and then he should come out. He has a little bigger army size, so he probably thinks he can win. So he thinks he can win, but little does he know, we just have way better of a commander. So now our damage is going to be increased by 350%. Yeah, the new advantage is crazy. And that is a stack wipe easily, and we're going to gain massive amounts of prestige and piety. And I'm actually not going to raid everything because I want to farm him. So if I raid everything, there's a 5-year cooldown, so I can't repeatedly come back every year. So I'm going to raid just a little bit and then leave enough that I can come back to raid him. And for the next decade or so, I'm going to raid and fight battles, especially farming the Pope every year. At times when our troops need to replenish, I can go on a Hajj. Once per ruler, a Hajj gives Renown, so this can help if you didn't get Renown from a grand wedding. And we're going to save gold, so let's reduce the pomp. And then this one is the event I'm waiting for. You have a choice to have 63 camels, and that actually will give you 225 Renown, versus these will not give you Renown. Once your kids are 4 years old, you can try to influence them to be wrathful, to give them more martial. Also, be careful of plagues. I caught measles because I didn't notice the ground was dark. Thankfully, my physician's treatment put my health from poor to fine, meaning we won't die, meaning we'll survive. So after 7 more years of raiding, we're ready to become an adventurer. First, I'll try to marry my heir to a strong ally. I plan to change my faith to have equal gender laws, so my eldest daughter will be my heir. I want a matrilineal marriage for her to keep it in the family, but my liege wouldn't let us do matrilineal, and the other choices were too young, so I just left her alone. We will, however, need to betroth all our children. When we become an adventurer, it's going to be a lot harder to propose marriages. You can only propose marriages into your camp. You can't just find anyone who is eligible. So since we're still landed in nobility, it's easier to have people marry right now. We want to make sure they're betrothals and not marriages. Otherwise, if the little pop-up comes when I'm still a ruler, then it's glitched and I won't be able to accept that as an adventurer. So I want to make sure they're a betrothal, but all of our kids are young, so there shouldn't be any marriages anyways. So let's just also make sure that they're children, inheritable traits. This time we don't care if they're low-born. We're just going to go for the best genetics while also avoiding alliances, since again, I don't want to help people and focus on my own things. Next, let's reform our faith. I don't actually want to be Islam. I want to be Orthodoxy, since I'm going to be in the Byzantine Empire service. So let's first convert faith. And if you take a look, it's going to cost almost 10,000 piety. But the easy way to reduce this is to conquer a piece of territory close to the religion. So I'm going to actually go for Antioch now, which happens to be independent. All right, so now that we have a piece of land that is Orthodoxy, if you take a look at conversion, it's only going to cost 2,000. Let's convert convert, and then we're going to create our own Christian faith. We're going to change this to this tenant here for the learning experience. Learning actually, ironically, has a lot of good perks for adventurers to be a stronger warlord that we'll see later. We're going to change this to Thonic Redoubts since we plan to be a clan of giants and it gives us some advantage in mountains. So that's kind of nice. And in this last one, we're going to go for Unrelenting Faith just so we have some prowess and a little bit more faith hostility advantage, which should be on almost all the time. For here, we're going to go gender equal. And here, I'm also going to do pluralist. So I have the reduced penalty of different faiths. And I'm not going to change too much of anything else since I don't plan to be a ruler ever again. I will, however, change divorce. I want to be freely married to whoever I want. And I'm going to come down here. I want Sky Burials for the small health boost. Because of the difference in fervor, the piety cost is not that much. So we're able to do this for a little less than 7,000. So that's our little faith. And with the remaining piety, so Antioch is the holy site of orthodoxy. I can consecrate my bloodline. I do need some positive opinion with the head of faith though. And the easy way to do that is if I just grant him a title, that would give 40 opinion. And now I can consecrate my bloodline. This basically gives us this dynastic trait of Paragon and also some free renown. So that's always nice. So I believe we have one more perk. We're going to just continue down here. This will also increase our heavy infantry regiments. And then the next thing I want to do, I'm going to diverge my culture. So we have this one county here that we can diverge. And instead of normally having to change our ethos to have this diverging be possible, because our faith has equal, I can change the martial custom and keep bellicose for the prowess and also the reduced maintenance and recruit cost. So we're going to go for traditions. And again, I'm going for just an adventurer, so I'm not going to care about anything for rulers. So let's change this. We're going to go for only the strong for knight effectiveness and for the men-at-arms toughness and damage. The new patches change everything to be more flat bonuses with these traditions, and then the buildings and other perks are percent bonuses that amplify this. So the bigger these numbers are, the more we should get in the end. We're going to also go for stand and fight, which is more toughness and some advantage. It does increase our casualties, so that's why for the third one in realm, I'm going to do state ransoming. This is going to have minus 50% casualties. And although sometimes it's bad because it makes it so that the characters are more likely to be captured, we don't care about that. And actually it's better where we can get more ransoms for lower rank rulers. So this actually will just help us out. And then lastly, we can also go for metal workers. So this will again give more toughness. So those are our traditions that are maximized to just boost our men-at-arms. And you'll see that the cost is actually only like 20,000. Usually it can be a little bit higher. The reason why I kept these spearmen bondy is because if I don't have these spearmen, then actually the stand of fights will be 3,000 more prestige because we have less than 500 infantry and spearmen. And also only the strong, the reason why I kept trying to recruit knights is try to reduce that cost. But again, I did 27,000 because that's enough of a buffer. And usually you get way more prestige than you could do with anyways. So let's diverge our culture. We can also actually instantly reform something. So we can actually add one more thing. So if we go to warfare, we can actually add hit and run. This will decrease our casualties by even more. And it'll finish usually even though we're not going to be a ruler anymore. So this is usually another free tradition. And then for innovations, we can actually choose one to finish. All of these are not relevant to adventuring, just the top military ones here. So between all of these, it looks like knighthood might finish by itself anyways. So we can actually just pick men-at-arms so that it will hopefully finish sooner. And this will also increase our men-at-arms size. So that's all for culture here. And there's two more things I'm going to do. If I had other artifacts, it's easier to sell them now as a ruler than as adventurer. And then lastly, to help my heir be a little bit better as a ruler, because I'm going to pass everything to her, I can try to adopt clan ways so that she has access to feudal buildings instead of being these tribal realms. So let's first increase our crown authority, and then we're going to be able to adopt clan ways through our liege. And then everything's going to pass to her once we become an adventurer. So I'm basically ready for adventuring, and let's just go forth. And once we're an adventurer, we do lose 3 levels of fame and we do lose all our prestige except 100. But thankfully we do keep our level of devotion and also our piety. And now we're almost ready to go and help out the Byzantine Empire, which we still got a lot of wars going on. But first I'm going to build 2 things. Let's first build a supply tent. This will unlock extra options for Camp Revelry. So actually if we try to host the Camp Revelry right now, the options here are actually pretty limited. But once we get that supply tent, we can have level 3 food. And this will will be very useful for free upgrades, which I'll show you in a second. So let's first upgrade the supply tent. And I'll also go over why I wanted specific perks. So if I look at my lifestyle, we'll see that all these perks have changed. So like this is now camp tax, and I got this one so that I could reduce the building cost. And this one also reduces the refill cost. And then for learning, we'll see that this second one here is to reduce recruitment cost. And then the martial perks, the reason why I pick overseer tree, even though it doesn't really help me as a ruler, is that down here we have 20% reduced cost for recruitment, another 20% here, and 10% up here. So I have 50% recruitment cost right here and another 25% right here, which is a crazy amount. So our men-at-arms, when we do recruit them, they're going to be very cheap. And we're actually going to wait to recruit them since the other building, if we come over here to Proving Grounds, if we have the max level, it will reduce the cost even more. It usually costs around like 8,000 if you want to fully use gold, but this will just save our costs a bit. So I'm going to wait for some of the buildings. So let's wait for the supply tent. Since we're going to be a warlord now, I don't need to do anything else. I'm basically done. Let's go back to Marshall and start working on some of these perks that help with going to war. All right, so that supply tent's done. Let's come over here, and the next one we're going to do is a baggage train. And this one is mainly for the head porter, so we have reduced provisions loss. And this also gets quartermaster, by the way, which also reduced provision loss. That way when we do travel to Byzantium, I don't have to spend as much. So if we try to travel right now, take a look at the cost. It's going to be quite a lot. It's actually more than what we have. So once we get those positions, it's going to be a lot less. So let's check our followers. So we can get a second. We're just going to put our wife as his free skills. And all these positions are free, so it's nice. Quartermaster, whoever just works. So my wife's works. That's good. And head porter, we don't have anyone else, unfortunately. So we're just going to have to leave that at my wife. And then now we're actually ready to move our camp. Let's try to go right outside of Byzantium. So it's going to cost a lot of provisions. We don't have enough. So let's actually go and or gather provisions to get some food. Let's see which option's better. So we have 100 or 300. So that's an obvious choice. And we can also visit the castle to try to buy some more. So let's go to something else. We're going to go for supplies, and we're going to buy some apples or try to steal them. This one's not bad, so let's try that. Okay, so now we have enough for our journey, and maybe I'll take a look to see if I have some more people I can recruit. So for the next positions, we probably want head porter and caravan master. So let's look for someone who's good for those. Actually, this guy has some crazy amount of traits. So let's see if he's free. So he's 123. He's kind of expensive, but we don't need that much gold, so we can recruit him. And there's an intriguing hooded figure. Let's see who this guy is. He's got a lot of intrigue, and he's also our culture and faith. So that's pretty good. He's probably worth the money, so we'll do that. Try to put in some more positions. So let's get this guy. Thanks to his high amount of skills, he's got very good proficiency. All right, we're just going to make sure the danger is as reduced as possible. So let's scroll down and get some mercenaries. And that should be enough, but we can try to reduce it a little bit more. So we'll do that one there. And also, since we're going to travel a lot, we can try to pass through all of these free lifestyle experience points. So let's actually customize our route. We're going to go through everything that gives you free experience. All right, now that we're in Byzantium or in proximity, we can start finishing our build. And then once we get an army, we can start helping him out. So as long as these guys don't destroy the empire, we actually have an empire to save. So for the next one, we're going to increase our pavilion level. And from here on out, we're going to keep spamming this camp revelry. So let's turn notifications on and we'll spam this. We're always going to turn on the food option to level 3 now, since we have the supply tent. We already start out at tier 2 versus without the food, we start at 0. And we're already halfway there. If we get to 4, there's a chance that I can upgrade a camp building for free. And that includes the expensive big pavilion. So it'll take about 10 years to get all the men-at-arms related buildings and upgrades, which is level 4 pavilion to get 3 max men-at-arms. Stocked arsenal upgrade and supply tent is +1 size. Level 3 baggage train is +3 heavy infantry. And proving grounds is reduced recruitment and also size. Inside of proving grounds, we also want lock wagon for the master of spoils officer and personal bouts for the infantry captain for troop bonuses. And finally, campfire for 6 extra regiments. There's also this distant shores event, which fires pretty frequently, and it'll give you a free minus 15% recruitment cost, so you can wait further if you need to. So now if we take a look here, there should be 10 regiments, and the size should be pretty big for each of them. Because of all those modifiers, we have ridiculously reduced costs, so it's only 15 gold. So if we recruit them, we do need to refill them. You can either refill it with provisions or with gold, which this is also reduced by other little perks, like this stewardship perk over here. But I'm gonna have an even better way to refill them in in a little bit. So let's create all the regiments. I'm going to have 9 regiments of veterans, and I'll have 1 regiment of trebuchets. Now I'm going to increase the max size. I'm just holding down the enter button to do it quickly. All right, so we actually ran out of gold, but that's okay. We have enough men that as long as we fight some battles with our master of spoils, we'll get gold from battles. Once I've recruited as many men-at-arms as I can, we're going to visit the castle holding. And in the council itself, there's this option to look at these scruffy Greek soldiers. And these first 2 options, because you have a high level of fame and devotion, you can, based on your level of fame, refill your men-at-arms for free. So if you have the maxed level, which I have for devotion, my regiments will be fully reinforced for free. All right, and we have 12,000 men-at-arms. These guys are really buffed up, and I'm going to buff them even more with some building upgrades. And this is probably one of the strongest armies. I don't know if we can take out Genghis Khan's special army and his big army, but we probably could take on most of these guys here. So I would like to try to arrange a marriage with this guy and just, help him permanently, but unfortunately there's no option to do that. So instead, let's see, he's at a war. So I could offer to join the war for free, or you can try to do it for money. But if you do it for money, you don't become a friend. So let's not do that. Let's just join it for free. So we're able to wipe that out easily. And because of all those stacking reduced casualties, we basically have no losses. So we keep our troops as healthy as possible. And we also gained gold for the battle. Although I helped him, he won't give me anything. In the meantime, I can use the gold to get these guys maxed out. So all of our stacks are max size. Let's actually visit the holding, and we can keep visiting the castle for free troop refills. Since the emperor doesn't want to associate with me, I guess I'll just go to war for fun. This guy, he's pretty peaceful. Let's land our army here. And yeah, he was waiting for me. And then I'll wait for this penalty to finish, and then we'll go fight him. So we could probably fight here. 34 days, so that's enough time to pass. No penalty, smash his army, and basically free gold. So we're just gonna harass this guy and just annihilate these armies. Lots of fame, lots of gold. And let's do these guys as well. And our siege is crazy fast too. And then we'll just leave them alone. Then I'll attack Hungary in the empire's north. And these guys don't stand a chance either. And that's 500 gold with only 8 casualties and 17,000 men slaughtered. And next, let's bully the Holy Roman Empire. Our advantage in damage is so good, the bar starts off so lopsided in our favor. And thanks to our veterans, we earn almost 1,000 gold. After a few years, I finally got a contract with the Emperor. With a weak hook, I can get an estate and join his empire, or I can try to get a marriage. Unfortunately, he doesn't want to betroth his daughter to my son, not even matrilineally, and swaying him is pointless, and bribing him is useless, so it looks like I won't be able to get an alliance with him for now. And then a few months later, the Mongol Empire shattered, so I won't be able to test my strength against them. Speaking of which, my troops now have over 105 damage and a crazy 142 toughness, and all of these bonuses apply to all of my troops, versus a ruler would need a lot of holdings to station them individually. So since the Emperor doesn't want to be our ally, our almost 20,000 Varangians are going to go on a rebellion. We're supposed to be the protectors, but, join the dark side. So all our camp buildings will be destroyed, and we'll get a little refund, and we'll keep all our Varangians once we become emperor. Yeah, we're going to be broke because of these Varangians, so I'll have to disband a bunch of them. Also, the empire is super ugly right now, and if I'm regretting my decision, unfortunately, you can't become an adventurer once your realm size is too big, and also higher rank. But yeah, I just wanted to just mess with them. Also, instead of just veterans, you can repeat this build with any type of men-at-arms or flavor. There are also many nice traditions that can improve the men-at-arms or the recruitment cost. Like you could build pure archers, pure horse archers, pure camels, etc. So there's a lot of stuff you could do with this kind of strategy. And it can even go crazier too if you do this in 867. That's all I have for you today. If you liked the video, please subscribe and give a like. It helps me tremendously, so thank you. Also leave a comment if you have any questions or video requests. There's also a request list on my community tab that I'm slowly working on. Thanks again from Bread God, and have a good day.